welcome to the April edition of Florida by the Numbers. I'm Sheridan Meek, research economist for the Florida Chamber Foundation, and I'm excited to give you an update on the metrics that matter to securing Florida's future. There have been many changes in Florida's economy this month, all tracked on the floridascorecard.org. Highlights include new projections for Florida's population, an updated number of 1.44 million net new jobs needed by 2030, current labor market figures, an update to consumer sentiment, and changes in the housing market. Let's get started with analyzing the newly released population projections for Florida. New projections show that Florida's population growth is outpacing previous estimates, leading to a new expectation of 2.9 million net new residents by 2030. Zooming in on this growth, over half of the projected new residents will reside in just 5 counties. However, looking at the growth rates, some smaller counties are expecting to see the most rapid population increases. As we look at what is happening in Florida's economy today, Florida's growing population gives us an idea of what is to come as we work to secure Florida's future. Looking now at the labor market, Florida's employment continues to approach 9.7 million, with 413,000 jobs added since March of 2022. This gain continues Florida's trend of year-over-year gain every month since April of 2021. We note here that Florida's monthly gain fell by nearly a third to a modest 13,600 jobs added between February and March. The 413,000 jobs created over the past year represents an annual growth rate of 4.5%, with all industries seeing annual gains. Leisure and hospitality again saw the largest raw and percentage gain over the past year, continuing its recovery from a deep pandemic decline. The education and health services industry also saw the strongest gains in the past month, growing by 0.5%, or roughly 5 times as fast as the modest 0.1% overall growth rate over the month. On the other hand, half of the major industries saw a decline over the month. This decline in 4 of the 8 industries is a deviation from previous months, when only a couple of industries experienced dips in employment. Despite the decline, information added jobs for the first time in recent months. Shifting focus to unemployment, Florida's unemployment declined by 1,000 people from February to March. It is important to put this decline in unemployment in the context of the number of open jobs statewide. Currently, for every 100 open jobs, there are 71 Floridians looking for work. This gap is evidence that Florida's labor force needs are greater than the available workers. Workforce needs vary in regions. The talent struggles of one county in Florida can be very different from even a closely neighboring area. You can see where your county stands on the floridascorecard.org, which now reports this gap at both the state and county level. Moving on to the residential housing market, single-family housing starts and sales have both risen. Although both metrics increased over last month, starts and sales are down significantly from where they were this time last year, signaling a housing market that continues to cool. Starts are down over 29% from February of 2022, and single-family housing sales are down 15%. As you can see in the chart, the current 12-month rolling average has been on a steep decline over past years, and even with a slight uptick is now in the range of low May 2018 levels. Despite a decrease in sales and starts over the last year, the median single-family sales price remains high. March's median price of $405,000 is up 2.1% from this time last year. Almost 30% of March's single-family housing sales were paid in cash, just above the national share. This relatively large share of cash sales is evidence of negative perceptions of current mortgage rates. The Florida Chamber Foundation's Florida Equality of Opportunity Initiative will be hosting the Florida Prosperity and Economic Opportunity Solution Summit and Florida Learners to Earners Workforce Solution Summit, with conversations focused on workforce, housing, and more as we work to secure the path to prosperity for all Floridians. Be sure to register yourself and your leadership team for these events today to engage with Florida business leaders, elected officials, and education, workforce, and community advocates on what's needed to move Florida's communities forward. Now let's shift gears to consumer sentiment. The March consumer sentiment of 69.7 was a 2-point increase from February, a jump that comes as a surprise amidst continued interest rate hikes and national bank failures. However, The impact of these economic stressors was felt at the national level, where consumer sentiment dropped 5 points over the month. We were eager to see if Florida would forge its own path when it comes to economic outlook, and these figures confirm that the negative outlook in the nation does not inhibit a brightening outlook in the Sunshine State. Another indicator of not only the health of an economy, but the future of an economy is innovation. Data on the number of patents granted in Florida in 2022 shows a significant dip from 2021. The nearly 5,000 patents granted in 2022 was a drop of just over 2,000 from 2021, which is a decline of almost 30%. However, the United States Patent and Trademark Office ended 2022 with a very high number of patents pending, over 700,000. This gives some context to the low number in Florida. In light of this decline, Florida also dropped one spot in the rankings nationally, now 10th in the country for the number of patents granted. With the goal of being in the top 3 by 2030, innovation is still a strong focus for Florida. A growing labor market and leading higher education system are both promising figures that can also set the stage for innovation. So we will continue to keep an eye on the number of patents as other areas of our economy strengthen. The conversations that matter on ensuring Florida is at the forefront of game-changing and innovative solutions will commence at the 2023 Florida Technology and Innovation Solutions Summit in August. We hope you will join us and your Florida business peers in the discussions focusing on creating the solutions to build an advanced business climate while looking to innovation to secure Florida's future. Register yourself and your team today. The FloridaScorecard.org continues to be a resource for all of the metrics I discussed today, as well as many others. The Florida Scorecard and our team's accompanying research on these metrics is made possible by the leadership of the Florida Chamber Foundation's Community Development Partners. If you want to stay up to date with the metrics that matter to securing the future of Florida as soon as they are released, there are a couple of additional ways you can connect with us. Following @FloridaBTN on Twitter, where important figures and analysis are tweeted as soon as data is released. Also, be sure to check out the FloridaScorecard.org regularly. This important resource houses hundreds of metrics at the state and county level. Current and time series data are available to help Florida leaders lead. If you have any questions at all regarding the topics we explored today or the work of the Florida Chamber Foundation, please reach out to Dave Sobush, our Director of Research, or any member on the Foundation team through the information on the screen. From everyone at the Florida Chamber, thanks for tuning in for an update on the metrics that matter for Florida's future. We hope to see you back here in May for another edition of Florida by the Numbers.